VoiceAmerica.com. Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
I'm glad you've made the connection and are with us today. I'm Lori Fitz, your host. And the goal of our show is to explore a wide range of topics that challenge us to see ourselves, our community, and the world around us. That gets us thinking, gets us talking, gets us maybe laughing, gets us smiling, gets us connected. And perhaps inspired or challenged to do just a bit more because we've made the connection. Rick Bernardo is joining me today. He's our co-host and co-producer. He's brought, a guest, and I will let him share about how Mary Harris and Rick met. Mary Harris is an award-winning singer, songwriter, pianist, actress, speaker, and lover of life with a powerful commitment to provide entertainment, empowerment, and love through the arts. She performs internationally on stage, in concert halls, on television, the internet, and the big screen. And she excites and inspires audience with her voice, her talent, and her presence. She lives an eclectic life that has provided a myriad of extraordinary opportunities for Mary to travel, to perform, and to interact, and to just love people. So we're so glad to have you today, Mary.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
And Rick has some stories to tell about how he met you and some history.
I wanted to share how I came across knowing a little bit, just still the beginning of who Mary Harris is, even knowing that she exists. I moved to Minnesota from California after working with many faith communities in California fighting tobacco companies. It was part of the public health projects. I moved here during the tobacco trial. Minnesota's is probably the most famous one in the world. And somehow I landed a big fish, a grant with the state of Minnesota and the Minnesota Council of Churches. In the middle of that, I also landed in the middle of a series of broken promises between the Council of Churches and communities of color and historic black churches. And so I started to search around for people in the community to help me be real with the community I had to be part of repairing relationships with. So I got introduced to Mary, and in fact, during the next few years of that work in public health, working with black churches in the Twin Cities, she would coach me every now and then. I'd say, I'm just afraid of this, afraid of that, and she'd say, well, you could start just by fessing up to that. That's okay. And I was just like, oh, that's too simple for my complex brain. All right. No, but it was wonderful. And then later on, because I knew of her music work, her acting work, as I did Spirit Road Radio for 3 years here on AM 950, it was a road trip on the airwaves. On the Spirit Road, and we had sound effects and a series of characters and vignettes, and Mary Harris became Queen of the Road. And we're going to play a clip of that very soon. But Queen of the Road was somebody who would introduce sort of the tone of the rest of the whole show, because we would visit, for this one coming up here, we were visiting Heart of the Earth, a mythic place on the Spirit Road for Thanksgiving of all. And we were going to visit American Indian elders in the community to reflect on what does Thanksgiving mean, not necessarily in the colonial sense of the word or not. So this is all about that. And we're going to hear Bert Berlow introduce some of that. Bert was part of the creator of the show. He died a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. And so Bert wrote The Compassionate Rebel, energized by anger, motivated by love. And you'll hear his voice and my voice, and then eventually Mary as Queen of the Road as we head out on the Spirit Road.
And what the real story is, as far as the meaning of Thanksgiving and the role of the Native Americans played in that.
That's great. Well, before we head out on our journey,
Yes, we're always could check in with our mentor and spiritual guide, Loves of Our Life, Queen of the Road.
Good morning, young men.
Oh, I feel young just hearing you. Queen of the Road, how are you?
I'm beautiful. How are you?
I know you're beautiful. I'm glad you know that. Well, of course you do.
Well, I have something to say this morning. It's a little bit longer, and I'm even going to speak more slowly, but it's very, very important to me, okay?
Okay, we'll drink it in.
Beautiful. Now, I had the trees in my yard topped last week to support the growth of them. So I was outside this morning picking up branches and thinking about what I would say to you as you begin your journey today. I was appreciating all of the branches, leaves, and even a small patch of snow that was still on the ground. An expanded appreciation for nature is one thing that I've gotten from the Native American community. I believe that we are all spiritual beings, a part of nature. And I say to you, too, as you journey forward, appreciate your nature and the nature of others.
Oh,
As usual, a beautiful message from Queen of the Road.
Yes.
thank you so much.
Thank you for calling.
You're welcome. I love you. Travel safely, travel well.
We'll be with your words, and we'll carry you on our heart, Queen of the Road. Thank you.
Beautiful.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Love you. All right.
Love you. Bye-bye.
All right. Well,
Mary,
Yeah.
Mary, I
that
love
was Queen of the Road, who supports us and guides us on our journey.
Mary, I loved your reactions as you were listening to this. That was years ago. Tell me what's going on. Tell me what you're thinking as you listen to that.
I sound so calm and wise. And it sounded like I said I topped the trees in the yard.
Said you topped the trees.
No, you said you had someone coming topping the
Oh,
trees.
good,
Well,
good. Yes.
Well, I that's what I got.
yes,
Yeah, the
yes.
image. Yeah.
My roommate tops the trees.
Yeah.
Yes. So, yeah, it was fun to hear that really calm, wise woman.
I think you had, for some reason, in the pre-production, said something about, I'm going to slow down and be very deliberate this time. And you're always, like, clear, but I think you were just being more deliberate about that during this time.
I get very animated sometimes.
Well, and it's all good, but I love that it was about nature and our nature.
Yes.
That was a great connection. Be mindful of our nature. Be mindful that we're part of that nature.
Yes.
And on those shows, we really never knew what she was going to say, but we gave her an idea what the topic was, and she would just set the tone. So that was all real,
Yeah. Yes.
So in doing that, that's sort of, how many years ago was that now?
When's the Civil War? Where was that?
At least 18, right?
I think it was 15 or 16.
Okay, so 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Lots happened
Lots happened.
in that 15, 16 years. And you've been doing more work in working with people to help them understand their nature and support them and love them up.
Love them up. That's it.
Love-
That's it right there.
Love them up big time.
That's it.
Even in our short conversation yesterday when we met, you loved me up.
Oh,
And
yes.
I love being loved up.
Awesome.
And-
Awesome.
And in that, you do a lot of. Tell me about the various ways that you bring that love.
The fun thing is I take it with me wherever I go. So I could be at the grocery store, standing in line, or at the gas station, or doctor's office. I just know, we're connected. Sometimes something will happen that seems coincidental to people, and they say, "Oh, it's a small world," and I'm trying to stop myself from trying to put my ideas on somebody.
Yeah.
I think it's a big world. I think it's a very big world, and we're all connected some way or another, whether we know it or not, whether we want to admit it or not, whether, and sometimes we're a push button away from talking to somebody thousands of miles away, but we're connected. So the name of your show, come on. Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect place for me to be.
Well, one of the things that you shared that I just loved is that you like to see people, who they are, their dreams, what they want to accomplish.
Yeah.
And I got from that, you also want to give them permission to accomplish it. Some people don't even know their dreams until you help them, and then they don't always know, is it okay? And you're like, yeah.
Yeah, so what I do, and I realize this is the foundation of this is my thing. I actually have a program called Appreciation and Recognition, and believe that people should be appreciated and recognized for who they are, for what they've accomplished, and their dreams and vision for the future. And I empower people to give themselves permission. Yeah. And sometimes I have people say, Mary, you give us permission. Well, I've had people say, Mary, you give white folks permission to laugh or to clap or to be loud or whatever, to express themselves. But I cause people to give themselves the permission.
To hear their own voice.
More so. Yeah, you got my permission, but it's more important when you can look in the mirror or you can be someplace and go, I say that I can do this. Yeah.
And you also have a beautiful voice.
Thank you.
And you sing amazing songs.
Thank you.
And we have a song for the next segment that we'll be sharing.
We got a couple of songs
yeah.
later on. Later on, yeah.
That share, and I think there is something about music that connects us as well in a deeper way.
Yep, and you can sing things to people that they can take it in sometimes better than if you're talking at them. Like I think that's why you have music at church, because you preach at me, but sing something to me. Yeah. Give it to me and give me some nice music.
It's this whole other language. I think it does connect.
And you came into Rick's ethics class and sang with them.
Yeah, when we share, I think the second song later on. The chorus of that, you should be just who you are. Excuse me. You share that in my ethics courses. Yeah.
When did you first start?
Every time.
When did you first start doing this work?
Yeah. When I was little, I think, because honey, I could be sitting on a bus stop bench, and somebody would sit down and just start talking to me. And that was really from maybe 10, 11, 12. I wasn't very old. I was glad my parents taught me how to ride the bus when I was younger. People have talked to me, and people have felt that they could talk to me for years. That's been 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years. And when did I start framing it into work? That's a good thing, because it's not. I don't have a brick and mortar building or LLC, but it's been in my heart, I'll say, for at least 50, 60 years.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. It's a lifestyle. It's a way of being.
And some of this came. I'm going to mention that you've had loss. You had loss in high school with your parents.
Yeah, and loss started in grade school. Yeah,
grade school.
Yeah.
So there's a part of that about loss that you started to see something bigger.
Yeah.
That you shared with me that I thought was so important in terms of how do we connect now?
Yeah.
Because we don't know.
Right.
We don't know when we won't have that now with this person.
Yeah.
So how do we fully share? Tell me more a little bit about that.
Well, the thing that comes to my mind is when my friend's grandmother died when I was still in grade school, and the day of her funeral, when we were getting in the car, the family was getting in the car to go to the funeral, and I noticed people were going to work and driving around, and part of me was like, "What are y'all doing, Grandma? Don't y'all know Grandma Paula died? What are you doing?
Why hasn't the world stopped?"
Exactly. What is wrong with y'all? And then, we went to the funeral, and then at some point it had rained. And then I love to ride my bike, so I couldn't ride, and it was raining. But sometime later that day, the sun came out, and I was able to ride. But that's when I realized the sun will always shine.
And you were 9, did you say?
Yeah, I was probably, when she died, 10, 11, 12, somewhere in there, yeah. I think what I noticed was the sun will shine again. So I even wrote a story about it. Yeah, the sun will shine again. And it does. And it rains and it snows and I'm in Minnesota. You get all kind of stuff. But I really get that. Just keep living. I tell people the key to having a great life, a wonderful life, a successful life, keep on living.
And living to the fullest. Yeah. With that, I'm going to have us go to commercial, because in our next segment, we're going to be sharing a little bit more about the St. Louis Park Juneteenth celebration. And I want to save that for our next segment as well as a song. So stay with us. We'll be right back, and we'll be talking more with Queen Mary.
Mary Harris,
Yes.
yeah.
So we'll be right back. Stay. Welcome back to Connections Radio Show, where we talk about ideas that matter. And today, this is Lori Fitz, your host. Today we have Rick Bernardo.
Oh, that's me.
And we also have Mary Harris.
Hello.
And Mary is an incredible woman. She shares from her heart, and she opens other people's hearts as well. She's an award-winning singer, songwriter, pianist, actress, speaker, lover of life
Yes.
with a powerful commitment to provide entertainment, empowerment, and love through the arts. So glad you're here.
So am I. Thank you.
We have a song during this segment, but before we go to that song, I want to talk a little bit about St. Louis Park, which we had alluded to before we went to break.
Yes.
There's a Juneteenth celebration, and this is going to be at the St. Louis Park Recreation Outdoor Center. It's near the aquatic park. For those who don't know where this is and you want to write it down, 3700 Monterey Drive in St. Louis Park. It's going to be Sunday, June 16th. That's a week from this Sunday, from 1 to 4 p.m. And they'll have black-owned business booths and food vendors and music from DJ Trilogy and Brother Ghana, and a community conversation with special guests. You are one of those special guests.
Yes.
And it's centered around the Black and African American community. So tell me about this, because I know you're one of the featured guests.
Well, it's very exciting. I've lived in St. Louis Park 20 years. So I'm glad to be out amongst the people, amongst us all. And I will be singing a song called Lift Every Voice and Sing, which we consider the Black National Anthem. And then I'll be kicking off the program, the event. And then a little bit later, I'll be on a panel discussion.
And you smile, because we all sort of like have an idea about Juneteenth. In fact, I shouldn't say that. There's a lot of people that don't really understand what Juneteenth is.
Right.
And they know that it's become a holiday, and they know it's an African American celebration, but they don't know the roots that are both painful and beautiful. Tell us a little bit about that.
I'll tell you a little bit about it. So a lot of people, most people know that Abraham Lincoln wrote something called the Emancipation Proclamation and declared slaves free. And it was a national thing. But the folks in Texas had another idea.
They kept it a secret,
They
didn't
kept
they?
it to themselves, and it wasn't,
yeah.
for a lot of people, it wasn't until 2 years, almost 2 years later.
They wanted their farms worked.
They wanted their farms worked, and they figured, if they don't know the difference. And the word got out, and on June 19th is when the word got out, and we found out had been freed. And it's a great celebration, but it's also totally disgusting.
Yeah.
And it's a part of American history.
Go ahead.
Another great example of how many rich white men go through life saying, who's going to make me do this? Who's going to really make me do the right thing? Just watch.
I'll do what I want to do, and I'll do it as long as I want to. And General Granger came up through there and said, y'all been doing what you wanted to do? No, you go take care of your own fields, and these people are free.
I heard a story that on the night that they shared, they brought everyone together and said, well, we'll start paying you now. And so we're going to work this out, and I'm sure you're going to want to just work out so that tomorrow what we're going to do is get together and figure out how we can now, create a worker and, employment,
Right.
contract.
Right.
And so we'll just wait till tomorrow and get that done. The next day, nobody was there.
Hello. See ya. I don't think it's going to go that way.
Just vanished.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
It might be a good idea for you. It ain't a good idea for me.
No, we're not going to negotiate.
We're not gonna do that.
We're just going to leave.
Yeah.
We're ready to go. So
Yeah.
I think of that when I think of Juneteenth. We're ready to go.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So with that, you're going to be singing and you're going to be sharing the story to help folks know more about the history and how Juneteenth has turned into a really family celebration, bringing people together. Tell me a little bit about that. What it is now.
Well, I don't know that I'll be sharing that day. I'm not sure what the panel, what the questions are. I don't know yet. But it is great to have families out. Mm-hmm. They had the first one last year. It was so great to have it was outdoors. It was a beautiful day. And it's great to see the vendors. There's an energy. I think every group has an energy. And the ethnic people, African Americans, Africans, there's an energy. and it's palpable. And the colors and the vibrancy and the bracelets and the jewelry, all of it, the sounds, the smells. It's great to have that right in my city of St. Louis Park. Yeah.
I promised that we were going to do your song in this segment, but we're coming.
Seems like years away. Where I am today and where I'll be tomorrow certainly aren't the same place. There'll be lots more joy, a little more sorrow. There's something very special.
Welcome back to Connections Radio Show, where we talk about ideas that matter. I'm Lori Fitz, your host. And we have Rick Bernardo as our co-host and co-producer. He has invited Mary Harris, who's joining us today. And Mary is an award-winning singer, songwriter, pianist, actress, speaker, lover of life with a powerful commitment to provide entertainment, empowerment, and love through the arts. Welcome, Mary.
Thank you.
Hi, Mary.
And we've been talking about some cool events. Last segment, we talked a little bit about St. Louis Park and the event that's taking place next Sunday, and encouraging people to attend that one. And the St. Louis Park event is, I believe, at 1 to 4 on Sunday, June 16th. And in this segment, we're sharing a little bit about the Kumbaya, the Juneteenth story. That's going to be at the U of Minnesota Northrop Auditorium, Carlson Family Stage, Friday, June 21st, so it's the following week, and that's at 11 a.m. And there are some other performances, but this is the only public performance.
Exactly.
And it's free.
It's free?
Yes.
And if folks want to go to that, they do need to register, though. And you've already got like over 1,000 people coming.
Yeah.
So it's already big. So
it's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal. So if you think you can go, you should sign up.
Go.
And to sign up, I would go to the northropUofM.edu and then go to the event section. There's a whole longer website here, but basically look for Kumbaya, the Juneteenth Story, 2024, and sign up. It's free. And tell us a little bit about it, Mary. What kind of cool things are going to happen at that show?
You're going to be taken on a journey. And one of the very cool things about it is that it takes place in the play takes place in two places, and it starts out in Lucille's kitchen. Are you familiar with Lucille's kitchen?
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah, it was a stable. It was an institution in North Minneapolis. Mm-hmm. People could come and you could eat, but beyond that, you could gather, hold conversations, get information. See, look, see. There's always something. You never know what you're going to see, who you're going to see. So that's where it starts off. And I have to say, I'm the waitress in the restaurant, so that's pretty cool. The fun. Yep. And then it goes to Texas, to Grimes, Texas, to the Turner Plantation. That's where the majority of the story happens. And we tell the story of what it was like to be on this plantation and to be enslaved. And fortunately, we had a slave owner that he would not allow us to get beaten. Which, my little voice going, that's mighty white of him.
Exactly, exactly.
It's mighty white.
You know.
But he also kept a secret for 2 years.
Yeah,
and,
yes.
And maximized his, ability to keep his farm going without paying.
Yeah. Because, that's the question just came to me. Did he know? I don't know if he knew. He probably
come
well,
on.
he was old. Somebody knew.
Well, it was on
Exactly.
the internet.
So it must be true.
You couldn't miss that.
Yeah. So, and it shows how, what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What a great story.
it really is. And so there's music. There's some singing, but it's great acting. Great story. Rose McGee wrote it.
And she's
It's
wonderful.
play Anna Book, and she's very great, and has just great characters, and is co-directed by her daughter Rosalind Harmon, who's now the mayor of Golden Valley, and Leonard Searcy, and they do a great job in the cast. Just it's a great family.
Well, a great shout out to Rose McGee. She's on Connections radio show. She's been on our show a few times. And we just love her.
Yes,
Just love her.
I love her. I've known her for several decades now.
We're going to be sharing a song, and we started to hear it in the last segment at the end. And you want to share a little bit about that, Rick?
This is just we didn't give the title on. Maybe we did, but it's "Where I Am Today," and that's not. I want to say that out loud to myself all the time, but that's the name of the song. "Where I Am Today." This is by Mary Harris, and we're just going to play a little bit of that. Maybe the.
Where I was a year ago and where I am today certainly aren't the same place. One seems like years away. Where I am today and where I'll be tomorrow certainly aren't the same place. There'll be lots more joy, a little more sorrow. There's something very special about where I am today. The reasons I arrived here are the steps I took along the way. If I had not started my journey and gotten lost along the way, I never would have arrived here where I am today. The people and the places.
That's wonderful.
And you were singing and playing the piano.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Are these songs that you would sing at like a conference and bringing people together?
Yes. How lovely. I can sing that anywhere. Yeah, but I love it. And one of the things about it is one of the reasons I feel like I was born to remind people how very, 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 very special they are. And that's part of what that song is about.
And I wanted to say, she's singing and playing the piano. She's another remarkable example. Mary Harris, by the way, M-A-R-I. That's how you search for her. And Harris, just the way it sounds. But she's a great example of being a polymath, which is somebody who excels in all kinds of areas. And the reason I'm mentioning that is because what I'm hearing from you today, Mary, is that is what it is to be human. We can excel in all kinds of areas. We have different strengths, but we're all have all kinds of faces we can have on things and all kinds of skills. And a healthy person has a whole bunch of things, arts, skills.
That they can express and be connected. Again,
Yeah.
bringing it around to the show. It's
Yeah.
like just totally perfect.
The song, what struck me about it was the acceptance that sometimes things don't go the way you think it's going to go, but that's okay. You create something more from that, and that's why you're here today. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, just like when you were talking, the first thing that came to my mind was whenever I run out of gas, or if I ever have had a flat tire, within 3 to 5 minutes, someone comes along, either with a gas can or with a jack, and changes my tire. So life works out, baby. I've lived long enough to know life works out. He's got to trust. Oh, for me, you got to trust. Be willing. Be alive. Be willing. I'm willing to have somebody stop and assist me because I'm willing to stop others and stop and assist others. So I think I really do believe in attraction, the law of attraction.
It's interesting you say that. When I first moved out to Minnesota, it was in '79, and I had this little small Honda, and I was moving from Washington, D.C., and I didn't know how to drive in the snow. So I drove off the road, and a bunch of people pulled over to help me. I'm locking my doors.
Hey, what y'all want? What y'all? Whoa, wait a minute now.
And I'm like, eyes forward.
Right.
And they came up and they're like, they saw my plates, and they're like, we're here to help you. We're going to get you out of this ditch.
Out of the ditch, lady.
And you're going to be able, but you need to roll down the window. And you need to turn on the car and take it out of the park. And it was like, what life had I lived before this?
Right.
And how could I live differently? And it was like a sign for me that there was something more in Minnesota, and that I can open myself up. And it's not that, I mean, Minnesota has its challenges, and it isn't a place. The Minnesota Nice has lots of layers.
It's lots
of layers.
Yeah.
But ultimately, there's a calling here, maybe because of the weather, and we have to figure out how to work together.
Sometimes, yeah.
But there is a calling to open up and to let people help you, and that's different.
Yes.
And that's what you bring with that song as well. It's a beautiful recognition that where am I today? How do we celebrate that? And what does that look like? We have another song.
Yeah, it would be a great example of what we were just talking about. This song is You Should Be Just Who You Are. This chorus in this song coming up is what Mary has ended every one of my Ethics University courses with as a call-in response. And we could just start that right now. This is You Should Be Just Who You Are.
I got a song on my mind, a tune in my heart. What a combination. Sounds like I've got a message here that just might rock the nation. It ain't about peace and it ain't about love or reaching for a star. It's just my advice about who you should be. You should be just who you are. Yeah, 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 yeah. You should be just who you are. Yeah, 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 yeah. You should be just who you are. Don't let nobody tell you what to do. You got a mind of your own. Whatever you say and whatever you do, make that decision alone. No, it ain't about peace and it ain't about love or reaching for a star. It's just my advice about who you should be. You should be just who you are. Yeah, 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 yeah. You should be just who you are. Yeah, 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 yeah. You should be just who you are.
And we should be just who we are.
I don't shoot on people much, but that's one thing I think you should be who you are.
You know,
And part of being should who you are is being able to allow ourselves to know who we are.
Exactly. And to embrace it. I've been in different training programs, and I was a coach for some people. And this young man was kind of concerned, and he said, well, I don't want to be arrogant. I don't want to seem arrogant. I said, well, are you arrogant? He said, yeah. I said, well, be that. Just don't hurt nobody.
Just don't hurt nobody. Yeah.
true.
And he
That's a
went
good
on,
point.
and that made a difference for him.
Good point.
And sometimes people think arrogance and mistake arrogance for self-confidence. And self-confidence is good. Knowing who you are and being able to step in that room and own it is not arrogant.
Yeah.
That has that little hint of shame.
Yeah. He had a mix of both. He had some arrogance. He was arrogant, but yes, he was confident. Yes.
I wanted to let everybody know Mary is spelled M-A-R-I.
Thank you.
Mary Harris. She's got a website, and also she's got an email. It's Mary, M-A-R-I, H-A-R-R, just the first part of Harris, and it's at Gmail. So Mary Har at gmail.com if you want to reach her.
And with that, we'll go to break, have some great sponsors, talk about the good things that you should go out and buy to support our AM 950 radio here on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. And we'll be right back, and we'll recap a lot of the highlights from the show today. Welcome back to Connections Radio Show, where we talk about ideas that matter. And we also talk about the arts and songs and cool things. And today we have a super cool guest that Rick Bernardo, our co-host and co-producer, has brought for the show today, Mary Harris.
Mary Harris. Yeah.
Glad to be here.
I'm just an echo.
Yes.
Well, you're more than an echo. You did Spirit Radio with Mary Harris.
Yeah, that's how I met her. Yeah, working with the community and historic Black churches.
And then with your ethic classes?
And ethics courses. She's been a featured guest on episode 10 of each of my courses. Episode 10 is the last episode, is what we call these. Every 3-hour course class I do is sort of a show.
Yep.
But I promised that we would do a recap of all the cool things happening in the Twin Cities that Mary's involved with. The first one coming up is the St. Louis Park Juneteenth celebration. That's on Sunday, June 16th from 1 to 4. And it's at the St. Louis Park Recreation Outdoor Center. Highly recommend, because it's not just a party. It's a party with a purpose.
Yes.
There's going to be some Black-owned business booths with very cool things, food vendors, music, DJ Trilogy and Brother Ghana, and a community conversation with special guests centered around the Black and African American community. Should be fabulous.
It will be, yes.
The following Friday, Kumbaya, the Juneteenth story, will be at the University of Minnesota Northrop Auditorium on the Carlson Family Stage. This is an 11 a.m. It's sort of like a matinee. It's the only public performance, but this play is going places.
Going places.
And it's going to go to Galveston, and we're all going to put our hearts and minds and thoughts to have this someday go to Broadway.
Yes.
So see it early, see it now.
Yes.
You can get tickets. They're free. Just go to the U of Minnesota Northrop Auditorium. Actually, go to the northrop.umn.edu and then go to events. And then from events, look for Kumbaya. Fabulous, wonderful opportunity, and I highly recommend it.
Thank you.
We also have shout-outs to mutual friends of ours.
Yes.
On Friday, June 14th, there is a sweet potato pie happy hour showcase, and that's going to be in Worth Park at the Trailhead. The June 14th, the free pie show goes from 4 to 6, and then 6 to 7, and this is Rose McGee's sweet potato pie extraordinaire extravaganza event that we want to make sure people know about. That's also free, and an amazing. If you don't know about the sweet potato pie work that she does a lot of community work and gifts people the sweet potato pie on Martin Luther King holiday as a way of thanking, as well as thinking about how do we continue to honor Martin Luther King and come to community together. And then I also want to do a shout out to the Onassis Foundation. And Mary, I'm going to let you tell us a little bit about how the Onassis Foundation created a podcast called Live from Mount Olympus.
Yes.
Ms. River Styx.
Yes. I love that I get to be a character on that. But I have to say, I'm going to go back to the sweet potato pie.
Oh, sure.
Because sweet potato pie is considered sacred in our community. And everybody thinks their mama makes the best one. As a matter of fact, Rose's new book is "Can't Nobody Make a Sweet Potato Pie Like My Grandma," like our grandmama. Yeah. So it's just the thing about that is whatever it's not a contest, it's a showcase. So whatever recipe you got, make your pie, bring it on. It could be a vegan pie, whatever spin you want to put on it, and it'll be great. So come.
So it's kind of like a big share and be sharing.
It's an opportunity, an opportunity to show your stuff off and strut your stuff and have somebody eat it and have a good time. Yes, it's going to be a beautiful thing. Thanks for bringing up the Onassis Foundation. I have a nephew that's a playwright in New York, and he also writes for this podcast called Life on Mount Olympus, which has gotten very popular with tweens, and part of it's about a young lady named Persephone. And so that's where I get involved. Persephone goes into the underworld, and she has the attitude sometimes. So they felt like she needed a guide. So I get to be her guide. The goddess, the river Styx, that's who I get to be. So it's been an incredible opportunity. I'm in episode 5. If you look it up, you can find it on wherever you hear your podcast. It's called Live from Mount Olympus.
Highly recommend. I'm going to be listening. I want to listen to a goddess with an attitude.
Hello, that's right. I'll calm you down. I'll guide you on your way.
Absolutely, and that's sort of your purpose in life, I think, as well.
Yeah. Where have I heard that before?
Exactly.
So with that, I also want to make sure if there's anyone out there that would like to have Mary be part of their conferences or coaching with teams, I'm going to give you her email, MARIHARR@gmail.com. Mary Har.
That's it, Mary.
No I.
2 R's.
Yeah, 2 R's.
2 R's.
Yeah.
MARIHARR@gmail.com.
Yes.
She does amazing work, and she is a supporter of having people realize their dreams. The 3 things that she said: who they are, their accomplishments, and their dreams and vision for the future.
Perfect.
And if you are wanting your staff, employees, volunteers, constituents, family members, and community members to experience the appreciation and recognition, allow her to be the one to deliver these gifts. And again, we so appreciate the work that you do and sharing it as part of our Connections radio show today.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Good to see you again. Good to be on another part of the journey with you, Mary.
Yes.
And Queen of the Road, Mary Harris. Many, many faces and aspects of her great life.
And we're going to wish the very best for all of our audience. And have you take a moment and get in touch with nature and your nature? Think about how we celebrate each other and ourselves. What are your accomplishments that you're proud of? Share them. What's your dream and vision of the future? Hold on. It's important. And that's from my tutoring from Mary Harris.
Amen. Shine on.
Thanks, Mary.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.